Did you know that 85% of positions are filled through networking and an astonishing 70% are never publicly advertised? So why do we waste time scrolling through job boards only to be ignored by recruiters? Well, it's time to tap into the hidden job market. You know, those job opportunities that aren't even listed online. In this episode, we'll dive deep into strategies to hack this hidden job market and secure those hard to find positions. Plus, stick around because I'm sharing 5 powerful networking templates that will boost your confidence and help you uncover those secret job openings. I'm Heather Austin, a university professor turned entrepreneur and career strategy expert. And on this channel, I simplify the complex and often tedious tasks of job searching into straightforward, actionable strategies that you can put into practice right now. If you're tuning in on YouTube, do me a big, huge favor. Hit that like button and subscribe to this channel for more insightful content just like this. And for our podcast listeners, a quick rating and review on your favorite podcasting app would mean the world to us. Your support and feedback allow us to keep making content just like this for you. Have you ever heard the saying, don't wait for opportunity, create it? Well, I want you to apply this same principle to your job search. Instead of endlessly scrolling through job boards or applying for positions that don't align with your skills and your career goals, I want you to take proactive steps to uncover hidden job opportunities. Here's how. So the first thing we need to cover, why casting a wide net during your job search is the old game and kills confidence. So I want to share an image with you guys. Tell me if you can resonate with this image, right? So this reminds me of what the traditional job search approach looks like. So you're applying to as many positions as possible. You don't have a clear target and you're hoping to get some responses. Or maybe you're using what we call the shotgun or the scattergun approach to finding these positions, right? And you get the results are just equaling rejections. Or maybe it's worse, you're not even getting a rejection, you're just not getting a response. So again, this image kind of brings it all together for me. It's literally like you're trying to hit a target with a blindfold on and you're expanding all this energy, but there's little to show for it. So I want to share with you what you can do instead of using this approach where you're blindfolded, you're going to your job boards and you're just applying for everything, right? Here's a simple trick or a tip. I want you to focus on quality over quantity. So this is where you're going to apply for fewer positions that are more aligned with your goals and your values. So by doing this, a lot's going to happen. And I'm going to share exact strategies with you in just a second. Your efforts are going to be more purposeful. Your applications are going to be more tailored, which in turn is going to increase or enhance your confidence. And not only that, you're going to refine your job approach. So we're refining it. We don't want to go through that traditional job search anymore. You're going to understand or better understand your value. And then guess what? The likelihood of a positive outcome increases. So I want to give a quick case study with you. This is actually Clay, who he also wrote in, and he said, I wanted to send you a message and tell you how much your resume YouTube video helped me. He said, within 3 hours of sending in my resume, the VP of his #1 choice company contacted him. He said, we moved along in the selection process on day 1. He said, I never expected results like that. I just wanted to express my gratitude and let you know you are on fire with resumes. Thank you. I do love resumes. They're awesome. I mean, they're kind of boring, but it's something that I find a passion for. Let me share my next slide with you. And this is where, and I call this your dream team. We want to identify and create a list of dream employers that align with your goals and your values. So I want you to think of this as a target list or a list of target companies. If you can create this list, and I'm going to show you an example in a second here, this will allow you to better tailor your applications and it will allow you to leverage your networking opportunities more effectively, which we're going to talk about networking in just a second. So here's the first step I want you to think about when you are creating your dream team. Remember, your dream team is simply your list of targeted employers, companies that you want to work for. So here's what you need to look for. We want to look for companies that align with your passion. So here's an example of this. Let's say that you are interested in the healthcare industry. Well, the healthcare industry is huge. There's a lot of different things you could do. You're kind of doing your research on the industry and you're figuring out that, hey, I'm actually drawn to positions that allow me to have more direct patient care. Or maybe I want positions where I can do research. Or maybe I want positions where I can take that public health initiative. So you have to decide on that industry and then drill down to what that looks like. I mean, the same applies for if you like coding or if you're into the latest in AI, right? There's a big, huge, vast market out there. But what you need to do now is you need to find those companies that align with your passions. Now, from there, the next thing I want you to do is think about a deep dive discovery. So this is where you have to do a little bit of research. Again, I've talked a lot about this with my Academy members lately and my one-on-one coaching clients. You need to dive deeper into publications, newsletters, LinkedIn, articles, networking groups to really find if these companies that you have your eye or your heart set on are really going to be the company that you want to work for. One of the biggest mistakes I see job seekers make is they're in a rush to either get out of a toxic environment or they're in a rush to land that next job, and they get into the new job and they realize, oh my goodness, there were so many red flags in the interview that I should have recognized, but I just kept going forward with it. And now I've got to get out. And now I'm not happy in this position. So again, this is where you really need to do that deep dive discovery. I want you to attend conferences if you can, seminars, webinars. You could attend company earnings calls. There's so many things that you could do in this avenue. And then of course, always doing that research. You can find job boards that do have ratings of companies. So again, explore that. Take that with a grain of salt because a lot of times you're going to get employees that have either been laid off or fired that are not as favorable to the company. So take that with a grain of salt. You'll probably see more negative reviews than not. But again, if you're starting to see a pattern or a theme, that should be a red flag for you. Now, the next thing is scale and aspiration. So when I'm talking about scale and aspirations, this is where we really want to consider the size of the company. So is it going to be a startup? Is it going to be a company that's either a small or medium sized corporation, or is it going to be like a corporate large size company? You have to really think about where do you see yourself fitting in? We are seeing a lot of hiring in some of those smaller to mid-sized companies. So consider that. Now, here's an example. If we're looking at the tech sector, let's say, a small company might be a company with less than 100 employees, where a mid-sized company is going to be somewhere from 100 to 500, and a large company might be 500 plus. That kind of varies depending on the industry that you're moving into or that you are in, but you really want to consider that growth potential. We are seeing a lot of job seekers right now who are taking jobs with smaller companies because their growth is like exponential over some of these larger companies that are really well known. In fact, I just had a client who accepted a job offer, was in his position maybe a week and a half. Another job offer came in and it's for a tech company, but it's more of a startup, smaller size company. The salary was almost double what he was getting with this larger company. And he's like, I've got to take it. And he's like, I feel really bad about telling them I'm not coming back and that I've only been there a week. But at the end of the day, you have to do what's right for you. So really monitoring what the scale looks like of that company and what their growth looks like. Now, the other thing is value alignment. So this is one of the biggest things that I've seen in the last couple of weeks when I've been meeting with my job seekers and my clients and my Academy members is they are looking at companies right now that are going to have a good culture, but they're also going to give them that job satisfaction. You need to look at what your values are and find companies that mirror that. So again, I mentioned this earlier, you can use platforms like Glassdoor, you can use LinkedIn, you can use the company's social media pages to kind of get insight into what that culture looks like and also what their employee satisfaction looks like. So that's one of the things you need to make sure you add to your list as you're researching your companies. Geographic fit. This is another thing that we are coaching our clients on right now is really looking at your location and if there is a remote work or flexible schedule. So there's a lot of debate right now in the workforce with companies that did let their employees take time off, or not take time off, work from home during the pandemic. And they've kind of extended that. They've now developed more of a hybrid work schedule, which I think is great because everyone knows how to do that, right? So that definitely works. But some companies, again, are now trying to get people to come back, and they want people in the office more frequently. And when I say more frequently, it could be 2 days a week, 3 days a week. You need to look at what meets your standards. Now, it's really funny because with all my sessions that I've been having recently, a lot of people are like, Heather, I actually want to go and I want to work in the office. So again, if that is you, you need to find those companies that are in your area, those local companies. So when you look for positions, or when you make that dream team, you're going to be looking at, I always recommend consider your local area and what your commute time looks like, but also don't be afraid to find still those remote positions, because there may be some travel involved where you can go meet with everyone in the office once or twice a month or whatever that looks like. So that's something that you have to consider. How priority is that for you? And then, of course, we're always going to connect and learn. So this is, again, part of you creating your dream team. This is where we're really taking part in networking and informational interviews. So this will really help you build your network. You can connect with current or former employers through LinkedIn, people that have maybe shared industry insights. You can conduct those informational interviews with, again, those current or past employees to really gather information on the company and what challenges the company has, what opportunities that might present themselves. I want to share a quick sample target company list with you. Take a screenshot of this if you want. So what you'll notice in this slide is you have your sample target company list. And what I've done with this, again, this is your dream team, remember. I'm putting out there that, hey, I'm going to have 30 different companies. Now, 30 might be too much for you. You might only want to have 10, but you can see that I'm going to have a few companies that might be small size companies. I'm going to have some companies in the mid-size company range, and then I'm going to have some companies that are in that large scale range. So when you're going out and you're searching for these positions or your dream team, make sure that you have some companies in each of these sectors in your industry. Now, again, this is very tech heavy, this list. I could have a tech heavy list that is healthcare related, or, let's say I want to be a project manager in another industry. I'm going to have these companies based on my specific industry. So again, keep that in mind. This is just an example of how your dream team would look like. And again, you guys, I'm going to share some templates and some resources with you in just a second. If you take these steps into practice and you put them into place today or this week, and you start reaching out with the templates I'm about to give you, and by the way, I'm going to give you a link that you can go download these templates, and you're targeting companies now rather than these job boards, you're not going to have that 95% rejection rate. You're not going to have that confidence killing machine. In fact, my really good friend, if you guys don't know Andy Lasaveda, I love him to death. He is like one of my best friends in this industry. I love that he calls the applicant trashing system. Whenever he says that, I have to laugh because I'm like, it is so true. It is an applicant trashing system. So again, this is you bypassing that ATS, right? And you're actually going in now and you're targeting companies and you're using specific templates and messages to get in touch with real people. Let's move on to some techniques to approach and engage with industry leaders. Now, the reason why this is so important, again, is because we are moving past that applicant tracking system. I mean, it's okay if you're going through and submitting jobs every so often on those job boards, but at the same time, you're going to have the most success if you are submitting jobs or being able to almost hand deliver your resume. I'm not saying you're going to go to someone's office. I do have some people that do that and it works out great. That's fantastic too. But I'm saying you're going to reach out online and you're now going to say, hey, I noticed that there's this position. Here's my resume. Or I noticed, can we have a conversation about it before you send your resume? I am going to be sharing with you guys 5 templates. In fact, what I want you to do right now is go to heatheraustin.online/networking. You're going to scroll down this template page, click on send me my free networking templates. Enter your first name and your email address and then say, send it to me. It's going to confirm that you're a real person, right? Because we get a lot of spam. So the email that's going to come to your inbox, it says something like, hey, your networking templates are ready. You're going to click on get my networking templates. There's going to be like a button in that email, and then you'll have a link. It takes you to a Google Doc where you can just copy and paste directly from this Google Doc. So this Google Doc is amazing. We may or may not add to this over time. This is a free resource, you guys. This is actually something that I normally just reserve for my Academy members. This is a free resource for you if you want to grab this today. So again, go to heatheraustin.online/networking. Okay, so let me go through these templates with you really quickly. The very first template I want to talk about is this is going to be a LinkedIn connection request that you send to a recruiter after you've submitted an application. Let me talk about the difference between these. So you have the connection request after your application is submitted, or you have a connection request before the application is submitted, meaning there might not even be a position listed. So when we're talking to a recruiter, let's say you found the position on LinkedIn, or maybe you found the position on Indeed and you submitted through Indeed, or maybe you even found the position on their website and you submitted the application through their website. You can't just leave it there. You have to, let me remove my face from this page too for a second. And again, you can take a screenshot of this, but if you get your download, your free Google cheat sheet with these will be here for you. So you can actually just copy and paste and then use those in your connection request. Now, when it comes to the connection request on LinkedIn, I want to know in the chat, because I'm really curious how familiar you guys are with LinkedIn. We did a huge, massive LinkedIn 3-day mini series last month or something, and we dove deep into LinkedIn. And everyone who attended, they know how to use LinkedIn now. But I would love to know how familiar are you with LinkedIn? Do you use LinkedIn regularly? Is it part of your job search? The first one, again, this is our connection request you're going to send to a recruiter after you've applied. You're basically saying something like, hey, this is who I am. I applied for this position at this company. I'm excited about you're going to talk about how your skills and experience can contribute to the company. Can we connect and discuss this further? You can tailor this to you. You have to keep it within a certain amount if you are doing the connection request. Connection request, you can't give a big, huge, long paragraph and so on and so forth. Now, the next template underneath this one, this is for a connection request before the position is even submitted or before you even applied for the position. Now, this is where, again, we are talking about those unlisted jobs. Time and time again, when we give this advice to our clients and our members, they take this advice and they say, oh my gosh, I sent a message to this recruiter at this company, and guess what? They replied right away, and they wanted me to send them my resume. And then I sent them my resume, and then I had the job interview, and then I got hired, and I did not have to go through that torturous experience of the job boards. So again, before the application is submitted, we're going to say, hey, I love what your organization is doing. This is one of my greatest strengths and passions. I would love to learn how I can contribute or how I might contribute should an opportunity arise. I'm looking forward to connecting with you. Now, this is just the connection request. Okay, this next template, let me move my face again really quick so you guys can see this all the way. This is a LinkedIn email, a LinkedIn in-mail or an email to a recruiter after the application is submitted. So in this one, let me put my face back up. In this one, this is longer. The reason why this is longer is because I wanted to give you guys that do have premium an option to just send a message rather than that connection request. With LinkedIn, and they are changing their way because they want all of us to become premium members, which I don't think is a bad thing. If it fits in your budget, I think it's great. You can only say so much in a connection request, but in an email or what we call LinkedIn in-mail, you can say so much more. And then you can shorten this if you want, or you can just kind of take this as an example and and use pieces of it. So this one, I'm not going to read through the entire thing, but this is basically you're talking to the recruiter. You're saying, I recently applied for this position. I've always admired, talk about the company, what you admire about them, and I'm eager to contribute to your team or whatnot. In my previous roles, now you're talking about something you've done in a previous role because you're now linking back to, hey, I actually have experience in this. I would be a really good fit because I have done this before. And then you're going to talk about that skill that you've had, that you have your expertise or your accomplishment. In that third paragraph, and again, you could end it at that. You don't have to go into this detail, but again, this is sort of like a follow-up message. This is sort of like, hey, I've applied. I want to really now get in front of a person because who knows if the ATS booted you out because you didn't have keywords or if they booted you out because it didn't think you were qualified. So in that third paragraph, I'm saying I'm drawn to this role because of, and you're going to mention something you really like about that role. I'm confident that my background mention something that you know for sure can contribute, so on and so forth. And then I'm going to go in and say, hey, please let me know if there's any additional information I can provide to support my application. I'm super excited. Well, I'm kind of paraphrasing. I'm very much looking forward to the opportunity to discuss my skills, so on and so forth. Thank you for your consideration. I hope to hear from you soon. And then, of course, you always leave your name. So that's going to be the next template. Now, type into the chat, yes, if you guys have downloaded your Google Sheet and you are seeing these templates on your end so that you can just copy and paste them directly from that template. Okay, next template really quick. This one's super important because again, this one is you guys finding those unlisted jobs. So I can't tell you how many times, and take my screen off, this has worked for our clients and our members. This is where now you're going to send a LinkedIn email to a recruiter before you've even submitted the application. So let's say that you don't even know if there's a position listed and you don't even know what that position looks like, but you know you really like that company because again, they're part of that dream team and you know that you want to work for that company. So again, you're going to go in and say something like, hey, I am a blah, blah, blah. Tell them what you are. I've long admired. So again, you're talking about how much you like that company, why you like that company. And again, this example gives you like an example, like you love it because of their innovative approach, their commitment to sustainability, whatever that is. And then you're going to go on to say, although I'm aware that there may not be any open positions that fit my skill set, I believe that my experience with such and such. So it's very similar to the other template I shared with you. However, you're now going in and you're saying, hey, like, you might not have a position open, but I know without a doubt that I can bring it to the table. Like I can do what you need me to do. You could bring me in for an interview, whatever that might be. You're going to say, I'm drawn to the company because of such and such. You're going to say, I'm eager to bring my background in such and such. Could we schedule a brief conversation to discuss potential collaborations or future opportunities where my background might align? Now, if this sounds too formal for you, you can always make it a little bit more casual. Now, you guys know that I am a big, huge fan of using AI in all of these steps of your job search. You can pop your own template into AI or use this one, put your information in, go to ChatGPT or Bard, whatever AI resource you use, and you could say, hey, can you make this sound better? Can you make this a little bit more casual? Like it doesn't have to be so formal, right? I like more of the formality. You could ask ChatGPT to shorten it for you. I like shorter and formal, so you could put those two together. Now, finally, the last template that I want to share with you guys, and this one is super beneficial. This is letting your friends or colleagues know you're on the job market. One of the things that a lot of job seekers, it's a mistake I see them make all the time, is they're ready to get out of a toxic environment, or they've just been laid off, or maybe they're furloughed, or who knows what might be happening in the job market for them. And they don't let anyone know. Like they don't go tell even their closest family members or friends because sometimes they're ashamed. They don't want, it's like, it's hard to talk about that, right? You have to get to this place, and I'm giving you permission to do this, where you start to let your friends or colleagues know. We know at the end of the day that most positions, 80% of the time, are hired by referral. So if you have a friend or a colleague that is referring you to a position, chances of you getting interviewed over someone that just goes out and applies on a job board are much higher. And that's vice versa. That's why it's so important for you to reach out to people to let them know that you are looking for a new position, and just ask them, hey, have you heard of anything? Or do you know of, is your company hiring? So if we go through this template really quick, it says, hey, I'm letting you know that my amazing run at company XYZ is almost to an end. And maybe it wasn't amazing. That's okay. You don't have to say amazing. You could just say my run at company such and such is over. I'm looking for my next big opportunity. You can say, hey, you've always been a trusted colleague of mine. I highly value your insights and expertise. If you happen to hear of anything, can you please let me know? I want to be able to use my skills and then list the skills. Or you say, can you make any introductions on my behalf? And then here is the critical piece to this. You want to say something like, hey, is there anything that I can do to support you on your own career goals? Don't hesitate to reach out. Like when I get on a call with, we get a lot of people that write us in to share their success stories. And what we've been doing recently is I want to meet with those people one-on-one on like a Zoom call. And I want to know, hey, how did this program or how did this service work for you? What were your challenges before you used it? What results did you see? And they're giving me something amazing. They're giving me like a success story. And better than that, it's on video, right? They're telling me their experience. I always end those calls with, what can I do to help you? Like, is there anything, like we're on a call together, anything that I can do to help you on your journey? And they're in a job they love, but maybe there's just a little question they have. And almost every single time at the end of those calls, they ask me a question that really is impactful for their career and something that I can share my expertise with. So that, again, is so important. You want to make sure that you're asking them, hey, is there anything I can do to support you? Don't hesitate to reach out. You've always been an integral part of my professional development, and I would be happy to return the favor in any way I can. So this could be done in a text message. This could be done on LinkedIn. This could be done in just an email. I would highly recommend putting these practices into place, because if you do, you will be one of our success stories that we can share in one of our next upcoming trainings. So quick question for you. On a scale of 1 to 5, how comfortable are you with your networking? Comment below this video or shoot me a quick DM on LinkedIn to let me know you made it this far in the episode. Also, remember to grab your networking templates to help you tap into the hidden job market and easily land jobs that aren't advertised publicly. So go to heatheraustin.online/networking. I'll include a special link for you below this video if you're tuning in on YouTube, or in the show notes of this episode if you're listening from your favorite podcasting app. And if you found today's episode helpful, don't forget to subscribe to this channel if you're a YouTube viewer, or to this podcast if you're a podcast listener. And take just a couple of seconds to rate and leave us a review. Your support and feedback mean the world to us. Until next time, keep pushing boundaries and pursuing excellence in your career.